Alright, welcome back everyone. So here we have why can't freak athletes shoot? Obviously we know these guys that are super athletic, but shooting a basketball itself is not really a big part of their game or, even to a certain extent a weakness. There's plenty of those guys, obviously.
Let me ask you a question. What do the Thompson twins, Zion Williamson, Giannis, and Ben Simmons all have in common? They are freak athletes. 6'6" to 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Explosive, fast.
It's crazy because that's literally who LeBron was at some point in his career. Like during LeBron's first stint in Cleveland, bro. Like that's who he was at that point of his career. Obviously it changed, but yeah, that's even the case with Westbrook. Westbrook is just like those guys. John Morant as well.
Strong and can jump out of the gym, and yet none of them came into the league as reliable shooters. Some still struggle badly from mid-range and three. But why? I have a theory, and it's not about mechanics, it's not about talent, it's not about they just can't shoot. It's about development. The theory is simple. They've been freak athletes their entire lives. From the time they were 10 years old, they were stronger than everyone, faster than everyone, and could jump higher than everyone. So what do? They play to their strengths. And why wouldn't they? If I can just run past you and dunk on you for 30 minutes, why would I need a pull-up jumper? If I can score 30 points in the paint without ever taking a contested shot, why would I spend hours mastering footwork and shot creation? They dominated by force, and domination hides weaknesses. When you're scoring 25 to 30 a game just bullying people, nobody's telling you, hey, your jumper is a long-term problem. And that's because you're winning. You're getting ranked, you're getting attention.
So pretty much that right there, that part of their game, the shooting is getting overlooked because of this,
You're getting offers. And here's where it gets deeper. Most of these guys played heavy AAU on top of school ball. And what do AAU and high school coaches prioritize? Winning, not long-term development. If high school Zion can score 100 points in the paint over 2 games, why would a coach pull him aside and say, hey, let's spend 6 months developing your catch and shoot 3? That doesn't help the coach win that season. That doesn't help the program's record. That doesn't help tournament standings. So what happens? That freak athlete keeps doing what works until it doesn't. This is something Kobe Bryant talked about.
My game wasn't about being better than you at 13. It was to be better than you when the chips are really on the line. And when I'd play to my weaknesses. I wouldn't play to my strengths. I play to my weaknesses. Because when you're playing summer basketball, there's so many games. So there's not a lot of skill work being done. So when are you going to get better? Right? When you're playing in competition situations, you're only playing to your strengths. Why? Because you want to win. Right? So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull-up jump shot, post game. Right? So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17, and my game is completely well-rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17.
Yeah.
Now you got a problem.
Hey.
The problem with being more athletic than
The wisdom from the Mamba. Hey, better listen to him, bro. And Kobe tried to warn, Ben Simmons, hey, come work with me so we can work on your shooting. And look where Ben Simmons is at right now today, man.
everyone is you never feel the pressure to build counters and master your game outside of 12 feet. You don't need footwork if you can just spin and dunk on the small high school center. You don't need a pull-up if you can just Euro step through 3 defenders until you reach the NBA. Now everyone is strong, everyone is fast, and everyone is long. And suddenly, you just can't overpower people anymore. Now the weakness that was hidden for 10 years is being exposed on national television. This is the same exact issue as when a youth coach takes the tallest 10-year-old and says, you're our starting center. From age 8 to 14, that kid develops drop steps, rebounds, standing finishes, basic post moves, but he never learns how to handle the ball, guard footwork, how to shoot off the move, pick and roll reads, etc. Then he stops growing at 6'3". Now what? No college wants a 6'3" center who plays like Shaq without being Shaq. And now he's stuck. Not because he lacked talent, but because he was developed incorrectly. This happens everywhere. In youth football, the best athlete touches the ball every play. In youth baseball, the best kid pitches every inning. In youth basketball, the best 9-year-old dominates the ball all game. Winning becomes more important than development. I've seen youth football coaches get into literal fist fights over 5th grade championships. I've seen coaches get a ball to one kid 100 times just to win.
Yeah,
I've
literally,
seen
bro.
youth football coaches walk around town with their Super Bowl ring like it's an NFL title. But here's the reality. Nobody cares about your 5th grade championship when you're 22 years old trying to make a roster.
Yeah.
Here's what freak athletes miss out on. Efficient footwork and moves when trying to take someone off the dribble, not being able to take and make open threes, and not having a plan when the paint isn't open. Because when you're a freak athlete in high school, the paint is always open.
Always,
All of
bro.
this gets exposed in the NBA because they shrink the floor. Defenses scout, they sack off, and they dare you to shoot. You can't just rim run and bail yourself out by charging head first in the paint because that rim protector is no longer a 6'3" kid who can't even touch the net. It's now Rudy Gobert, Wemby, and Evan Mobley. We saw teams build literal walls against Giannis early in his career.
Yeah.
We saw teams ignore Ben Simmons at the three-point line. We see defenders duck under screens against the Thompson twins. Now the game slows down. And when the paint is crowded and athletic advantages shrink, skill becomes king. The players who can shoot off the dribble, hit pull-ups, punish closeouts, play off ball and space the floor, they survive. And the ones who can't, they become limited. So here's how we fix it. If you're a freak athlete, stop chasing wins, start chasing development. If you're a 6'6", 5-star averaging 25 points without a jumper, you don't need more AAU exposure. Coaches already know who you are. You need 3 to 5 months every offseason where you barely play games, you get uncomfortable, you rebuild mechanics if needed, and shoot thousands of reps on top of working on your mid-range and mastering counters, the whole 9. If you already have high major offers, more AAU tournaments are not helping you. Skill development will. And parents, stop measuring success by points per game at 14. Coaches, stop hiding weaknesses just to win tournaments, and players, stop leaning on what makes you comfortable. The goal isn't to dominate 15-year-olds. The goal is to reach your full potential so you can dominate for the next 15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Freak athletes don't struggle to shoot because they lack talent. They struggle because their talent protected them from needing to learn. And the game
they didn't develop right. That's really all it is, bro.
exposes what you avoid. Athleticism opens the door. Skill keeps you in the room. If you are gifted physically, that's a blessing. But if you don't develop skill to match it, that blessing can become a ceiling.
That's really all it is for real, man. It's not about the lack of talent. It's just the fact that there isn't proper development behind them. It's like this whole thing about crashing the paint, and jumping as high as they can, and dunking over all these guys, when they're young. It works, on the scoreboard, but when they get to play against people who can actually contain this and basically block the whole paint and force them to shoot, then now they're stuck with having to do things they've never done before, like take a jump shot, whatever stuff like that, handle the ball. So yeah, it's just it's really just a lack of development. Their game is not real well rounded because they've only focused on what worked for them, but not really what they needed to focus on. But it is what it is. What do you guys think of that? Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.